All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do the Sensational She-Hulk issue number 6 from Marvel Comics, written and drawn by John Byrne. Yeah, I thought let's do a She-Hulk again because I like She-Hulk. I don't like the TV series because those. Let's not talk about that, and especially not modern comics because that's is even worse. If you want to read She-Hulk comics, this is the way to go. The art is great. The stories are fun. It has fourth wall breaking stuff. If you are into that, it's funny and cool action, excitement. It have everything you want from a She-Hulk comic. Don't buy modern comics; you regret it. Moving on. So let's dive in. So we see here this is NASA spaceport, I guess, and She-Hulk is invited by someone, and it has to do with legal reasons or something. And I like that John Byrne has depicted here as the green jade giant, right? That's how. And this guy is way smaller, and you see only the tip of his head. So and also. So yeah, this is some kind of experimental space shuttle, and she is here. She has been invited, and Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four comes to greet her, and he says, "Hey, I've been acting as an advisor on this F.T.L project." So F.T.L, for those who do not know, is called Faster Than Light, and since Mr. Fantastic got his powers through cosmic rays, he has a lot of knowledge about that, right? And he says, since we members of the Fantastic Four were testing the prototype of a faster than light drive when we encountered the cosmic rays, which gives us our powers. But before he can say anything more, this is a big giant truck coming called the Big Pig 2. And yeah, it's blaring, and She-Hulk tries to stop it, right? And she says, tough truck. And and what it tried to turn, and then she realizes what's going to happen, right? And so she jumps on it and rips off the roof, and nobody's inside. It's some kind of a remote control gizmo, and then somebody is blaring in the speakers here that the Starblazer is in launch mode, and then it launches. So somebody has diverted our heroes so that they can kidnap. Is that the word? Hijack this space shuttle. So Mr. Fantastic says, she says, she is already too high for me to stretch. And by the time I could get to the Fantastic Four, I flew down here. Starblazer will be beyond its effective ceiling. Plus, there's no way we can track her once she goes into hyperdrive. So she is whispering and something's in his ear. But then he says, well, that's a good idea, but maybe you can say it out loud. There's nobody here. True, but we got to keep the readers in suspense somehow. Like I said, fourth wall breaking. I mean, just like here that she's looking at the reader. They did such a bad job with the TV series. Oh man, what a travesty. Anyway, so he's making a big cushion out of himself. Oops. And then she's jumping up and down, right? And then she says, I say up and away, but I think that'd be an infringement of copyright. That's a speaking of Superman, right? Because that is his line, and that's from DC Comics. But she said it anyway. So she jumps up in, right? But there's a lot of wind, and the pressure is real. But then they are getting into orbit, and she realizes that they are getting out of the atmosphere, right? And then they are hitting. She's floating in vacuum, so she's weightless. So she tried to get in the door, but she says a normal human would be exploding in 15 seconds, but I've got longer. But I don't have all day. Nice little airlock with an external control. Wish I hadn't thought about air, though even my lungs have only so much capacity. And then she's losing conscious because she cannot open the door in time. But she's been saved by none other than, oh no, it's Razorback. Do you know Razorback? Probably not, because he's a throwaway nobody villain that tangled with Spider-Man and even, She-Hulk, I guess, or maybe they become friends. He's popping up here and there in this series. And this is Taryn O'Connell. So She-Hulk says, he says, O'Connell, afraid that name doesn't ring any bells. But I heard of you, big guy. You're the Arkansas trucker come superhero who got mixed up with Spider-Man a while back. Are you chasing the hijackers too? No, we are the hijackers. And she says, what? Then why did you save me? You know I'm just going to have to call out the Avengers first chance I get, don't you? But he says, it's better that you not do that. Is that a Fred Tusker? In case it's slipping your notice, I'm not drifting unconscious in space just now. So the girl says, what's her name? Jacqueline? Taryn. Jesus. Sorry. She says that we are in hyperdrive. We are 10,000 light years from Earth. And she's speaking to the camera, talking about John, towards John Byrne. But then we see this. Now, this is an image that long-time readers who are probably just as old as I am have seen a couple of times before. This is what Jack Kirby did back in the day when he, wanted to showcase epic space, fantasy, science fiction stuff. I believe this is more like a not cosmic, but more like a, how do you say, a microscopic picture of something, could be an animal, could be grass, could be food, inner space, if you will, It looks great. I believe a couple other artists did that too, so, like Jim Steranko, I believe. So now here it gets weird, and John Byrne has a knack for introducing people that are, in my opinion, totally important. You never see them again, or if they are in this comic, they are pretty insignificant. They're just side characters that has, those are not really important. But anyway, so she talks about a guy, and it seems that she's a trucker, right? And the story is about a trucker called Ulysses Solomon Archer, USA, and his brother Jefferson. And there are two different guys. So at one point, on the dark stormy weather, the rig was forced off a cliff by a mysterious outlaw known as the Highwayman. And I thought, is this the same Highwayman that Ghost Rider tangled with, back in the day? Probably not. So it seems that he has a metal cap now, right? And he can receive CB transmissions. Now, leave a comment below, because I don't know what a CB transmission is, but maybe high frequency transmissions from space, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so then we have all these people that are involved here, including the Highwayman, right? And also a space alien called Al. All right. So it seems that the Highwayman was secretly Jefferson Archer because he hates his brother, and he just, disguised himself and faked his death. And because he hates him, and it seems that the aliens kidnap, the brothers or something, because they need highway cowboy space truckers, I guess. Anyway, U.S. and Jefferson had always been rivals, mostly because of Jeff's jealousy. So they had one last race out in space. Jefferson tried to ram U.S., he missed, and his truck crashed in the moon. Also, there's also a diner that came with them somehow. It's all weird and fantastic. And she says, basically he's in love with him. So this whole thing is her kidnapping $1 million rocket, goes into space and looking for a guy that she hasn't seen in ages because she is love him. And also she has a rival, this woman, that is also in love with this guy, and She-Hulk says, well, okay, let's look for this guy. Well, they don't have a choice. I mean, what else that she can do, right? Anyway, moving on. So, she says, hey, why did you call the Avengers or the Fantastic Four? And she says, I did, but when I tried to call and explain the situation, basically they said that you are a Looney Tune and she's not taken seriously, right? And then she's, that's decide her to drive her to do this or something like that, right? Anyway, so it seems that the truck stop, truck stop, has been evolved into a real truck stop for a diner for, well, aliens. And we see here what John Byrne is doing good. He's drawing aliens. He likes to do that, I guess. He has a wild imagination. I like that a lot. And we see the originals, Guardians of the Galaxy, also the best in my opinion, right? And so this guy, happy to see Taryn, and he says, "Hey, we don't want your kind here." And she said, "What is that supposed to mean?" "Well, Skrulls, we got no place at the Star Stop for no laser-licking Skrull, and so you can just go to haul out of here." And so Terrence explained, well, she's not a Skrull, she's She-Hulk, maybe you heard of her. And he did. But then he talks about U.S., the guy Ulysses, and he says, yeah, he's been married and he has a baby. And she says, "A baby?" "Yeah." And remember when people in space built buildings like this? Dude, this is so cliche. Anyway, so he says, U.S. Has been married and Mary are married. So you're saying Razorback sacrificed his rig? We stole a NASA spaceship, became criminals, practically kidnapped the She-Hulk, traveled 10,000 light years, all for nothing? Yeah. So go back. And she says, "Well, I'm sorry, but it's just happened, right?" And she says, "Where is Archer anyway, right? Shouldn't he be here with his pregnant wife?" So this woman here says, "No, he is on a cold seg run on the Lanians, and he should have been here." But then they hear a sound, and it's, oh no, we have U.S. Archer with this, American flag-looking spaceship, and I believe U.S. Archer has one or two own comics called I Bless, also U.S. Archer, with these colors logo. I didn't have it. I don't want it. I'm not interested in. So he breaks through the barrier and it crashes, right? But then when they are looking for, if he's still alive or if he's hurt, then somebody comes out and it's Xenu the Titan. Remember Xenu? He tangled with the Hulk before. He's a great character, by the way, especially in Immortal Hulk. That part was totally crazy. Xenu the Titan is freaking awesome. That leads us to the next issue. I have that. We're going to review that. Guys, this was fun. Let me know in the comment what you like about this. Leave a like. Just subscribe to my channel, I'm saying that every day. Just do it. It's fun. You hit the bell for notifications. You get everyday new content. So without further ado, see you next time. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.